For more on the fentanyl crisis in Vancouver, we're now joined by Livingstone. She is an organizer with the Overdose Prevention Society, a group of volunteers that runs a supervised injection site in Vancouver's downtown east side. And that is where she joins us today. And thank you for joining us. I want to begin with the news of these 9 deaths due to overdoses all in one night in Vancouver. What's been the reaction among the people you're trying to help?
Well, there's a tremendous upset. Yesterday, everyone was talking about it, and there's a kind of sense of what else can we do and what aren't we doing, because we've set up, I think, 4 overdose prevention units. So some of the information we need is when did they occur, and were they alone in rooms. We've just had quite a cold snap for Vancouver. It was quite cold yesterday. Like -7 or something, and that's quite unusual for here, and there was a little bit of a breeze. And many people here don't own proper winter gear because it doesn't drop down that, the temperature doesn't drop down that much. So one of the hypotheses was that people stayed in their room and didn't go out to the overdose prevention units and used in their rooms and died. We're not sure if that's true because we don't have full information.
So still some questions about those overdose deaths. But as you talk to the clients, the people you're trying to help, how concerned are they that something similar can happen to them?
Well, I think they're quite concerned. Certainly the people that are coming to where we are, they come for a number of reasons. But one of the reasons is because if they do overdose, that there is someone there to help them, and they know that. But there's other reasons they come. It's a little bit of a social thing. The other thing is that they're protected from police approaching them while they're using, or, whether the police are doing that or not. It still certainly shows that there's probably 1,000 to 1,200 arrests for drugs just in the downtown east side each year. So, these are difficult problems.
Difficult, and I think that's even underlined by the very fact, and we should be clear about this, that your group, for example, is a volunteer group. It's not sanctioned by the city, but you feel the need to go out and help people. Tell us about why you decide to do that without city sanction. Tell us about how your operation works.
Well, we have a downtown east side market, and we exist on a sort of empty lot. And if there's something we know about, it's tents and tables, because that's what we do all the time. And one of our members had her son die. And for many years we've been discussing this, because there often can be drug use right in the market, and it upsets people. And they would say, well, I'm going to kick them out of the market. They can never come back because I saw them using drugs here. And then I would usually say, why don't we make a little spot for them to use? But until Janet's son died, people were against it. And I think it just really came into focus. And of course, it's a mounting problem. If you look at the data from the last 4 years, you could see that this thing was mounting year by year. The overdoses were increasing. And then we had this spike followed by another spike. Just in this November, we had another spike, and we think it's carfentanil, because it is just so remarkably different. And the other approach we're taking at the tent is to say, please don't overdose. I mean, a lot of people are going to show up, 6 firemen, 2 ambulances. It's quite an event. And people will learn to take a very tiny amount of this drug, leave the rest in the syringe, and do some more later. And, we don't harass them. We just let them sit there. If they're going to, it's not very tightly, here's where you shoot, and then you have to go over here to the chill room. Where Insight tends to be a very medicalized model, and they've been forced to be quite rigid in their practice. We have a much more community-run facility where everyone there is interested in saving each other's lives as well, and everyone pitches in to some extent.
Well, and forgive me on this, but I do need to ask the question, because there are people that are listening to this conversation right now, and we all know that fentanyl is dangerous. We know that is a problem, but there are people that will say, well, then these people that take drugs should just stop. What do you say to them?
Well, if you can picture waking up in the morning and you're going to go into the most violent kind of flu with diarrhea, vomiting, chills, aching bones, withdrawal is very severe from opiates. You face that, or you're going to go out and try your chances on the street. And that's a very simplistic thing. But if people think that, they'll go out and try their chances on the street. So some of the interventions that are being discussed is whether we could have something more than methadone and Suboxone offered. We have a tiny heroin prescription program here, but no one can get on that program. It's just the people that were left from the heroin study. And so every day, I think 10 people go into the heroin study and say please and cry and beg, and no, they can't be put on. So that's something I think we could fool around with and get it. It's an urgent situation. I think that and hydromorphone, which is actually Dilaudid, that's injectable, can be an attractant, so that you're not swallowing it, like methadone, you drink it. So if it's still injectable, that might bring people in the door. And the big thing we do know is that if you engage people, even at an injection site, or even better, at a place where they're being prescribed drugs so they're not buying street drugs, they can start talking about all other parts of their lives. Are they on welfare? Could they get housing? Because the rest of the day yawns before them. They don't have to go and get money and score these drugs. And, so anyway, that's some of the thinking we've got, is that I think the next really important thing is to get a very loose and open place to say, please come here. There's physicians here who can prescribe this injectable hydromorphone, and if you hate it, you can always move to something else. But just to begin negotiating so that we get people into healthcare. A lot of people aren't on welfare. A lot of people are cycling in and out of prison. And that's a conversation we need to have with the VPD. I think it's great that they want to see more treatment beds, but we need to talk to them about just saying, here's a list of people, please don't charge them with anything else. If you find these people anywhere, please bring them to us. Because it's mostly administration of justice charges. They're missing probation appointments, they're missing court dates, and that's a crime, and you will get arrested and you will do time in jail for that crime of missing appointments. So we're kind of saying, could we just modify all this and really work together as a team? Because I don't think going in and out of jail is any help at all. There's every indication to show that people are even at more risk for overdose. So.
And really, you're just alluding to the fact that what many experts say, this is a multi-layered problem. And thank you for this.
You're welcome.
And that's Ann Livingstone, an organizer with the Overdose Prevention Society in Vancouver.